Hi, you're listening to the Totally Serious podcast series. I'm Ryan.
I'm James.
And I'm British James.
Today we are going to start with introductions, just so you can learn who everyone is and all their dirty secrets.
Oh,
That's it.
Can I go first? Can I go?
Sure, yeah, go
Yeah,
first,
you can
James.
go first.
Awesome. So yeah, I'm James, also American James, also whatever James, and I'm the youngest of our group. I'm a dirty millennial.
Is that true? Are you really the youngest
Yeah,
out of us? I
yeah,
did not
yeah.
know that.
I am 27. So yeah, I'm the youngest here,
Wow.
and yeah, I work as a bookkeeper. I just stare at numbers all day, and I love it. It's the best.
Oh my gosh.
I'm also the only one who's not married out of us. I'm engaged, and yeah. What do I enjoy? What do I care most about?
Long walks by the beach.
See,
Knives.
have I even been? Oh yes, knives.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
But not like those weird knife people. Oh, actually, no, I am a weird knife person.
I didn't know there was any other kind.
Isn't that what you define as somebody who likes knives, a weird
I
knife
guess.
person?
I mean, I'm real chill about it. Like, I'm not. No, I think you're all right. I'm terrible. But yeah. Overall, I enjoy like overanalyzing things, and I enjoy talking about it. So I think that's kind of how I ended up a part of this crew, and I'm grateful to be here. But for now, that's the best intro I could come up with.
Hey, that's pretty awesome.
Nice. James? British
Yes.
James?
I'm British James. I am not in any way the same James as before. An American that can do an awesome British accent. I am a legit Brit. So a little bit about me. I was born in England. I am the middle age of the group, I guess. I think I'm younger than you, right?
Just keep rubbing that in.
And so, I was born in 85. I lived in England for like 20-something years. I enjoy lots of different things. I moved to Texas because I married a Texan who originally came from Alabama. So go figure. I moved here in 2010. Lots of different things have happened since then. I have 4 kids.
Yeah.
And no more on the way ever. And I work in IT. As for things I enjoy this kind of thing. Actually, I like radio. I like technical stuff. I like sound. I like sound engineering. I volunteer at our local Methodist church as the sound engineer there every Sunday for the praise and worship team. My colleagues pick on me every single day, and I pretend that I enjoy it, whereas I really get my feelings hurt on a regular basis.
You die on the inside.
Oh no.
What's your stance on knives?
My stance on knives.
Yes.
Actually, that's interesting because I come from, a place where there's it's very, very difficult to get guns in England. That you can't just go buy guns like you can here, and so knife crime over there is like ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy. Like here you hear about somebody being shot almost every single day on the news. Well, over there it's like somebody got stabbed.
Yeah.
And so like it's but knives are good for cutting things when you need to cut things. So, I guess I can't hold much against them.
See, I envision, since you're from England, that everybody walks around with swords.
Yeah, yeah.
That's why there's so much crime with blades.
We just walk around with
arming
like
swords.
Yeah,
and-
we just like knighting each other on the street. Everyone's really a sir.
That's your way of saying howdy. You have to knight each other as you're walking by.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think this is a good time to pass it over to Ryan.
Okay. Well, I'm Ryan. I am the oldest of the group. Do I have to say my age?
And the wisest.
I'm
You
a
do-
decade
you do.
older than American James. And so I'll be 37 this year. Wow. Right. I am married and to a woman, and I have.
Oh, I mean,
I just,
yeah.
I
that's
just wanted to
important.
make that.
Just
Yeah.
make it clear. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I have 2 kids, 7 and 4. That's not their names; it's their age. Come here. Actually, I've heard people named 7 before, or named their kids 7.
7B4.
Yeah,
Oh
74.
my gosh.
When you have so many kids, you just name them
Just-
as numbers.
Yeah. You give them a shirt with their number on it, so you know.
Come here, 8. Wash those dishes. I am a graphic designer, web designer, anything designer. Hopefully, whatever I can get. And I
That
enjoy.
doesn't sound desperate at all.
No. In fact, if you know of any graphic design jobs, please send me any.
Oh my god.
So,
And my next graphic design gig is designing my 4-year-old's birthday invitation. I don't get paid for that one though.
oh, it's gonna be legit.
It's
Yeah.
Wait, are we invited?
Yeah,
Is that
absolutely.
that's an awkward question to ask? If like,
mean-
hey, is it okay to invite a 27-year-old to a 4-year-old's birthday party?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a 37-year-old. I'm going to be there.
Yeah,
so
but it's, you're the kid's father. That's different.
I hope.
Can, is that too young to be given a knife?
I think it depends on the kid, but I do have a knife that I bought for Dominic that I'm waiting to give to him. I think
Oh, okay, cool.
probably next year, maybe 8.
Eight's a good knife here. Okay.
Yeah.
Given your 4-year-old's recent dreams and
Oh yeah.
sayings, probably a knife for him is not such a smart thing.
Or the best thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. At least he gets the knife from me, I don't know.
Oh yeah, that would solidify me as the weird knife guy. If I start giving my friends' kids knives as birthday gifts.
Without the
I don't-
parents knowing.
I don't-
Though, actually, there was a story the other day of a guy you used to work with, Ryan. I think you actually told me the story of him giving out knives. He wanted to give you a knife,
Yeah,
What?
yeah. No, he...
and he had like a whole drawer of them or something.
Yeah, no, it was great. And I'm not a knife carrier most of the time, but it was a job where I needed some type of knife, probably as a painter, construction. And yeah, he gave me a huge folding knife that was like a foot long, closed. So
That's a sword.
yeah.
It's just
Actually-
my folding machete.
No, that's
that I
like at what
have.
point?
Like, literally.
At what point does a knife not become a knife anymore?
Oh, see, if I was
That's
a
not a
real
knife.
knife dude, bro, I could tell you. Like,
Yeah.
I would know the laws and be like, oh, yeah, that's not a knife, that's a sword, and all this. I don't know any of those things. So be grateful that I'm not a real knife dude, bro.
If
Not yet.
like, how many knives do you have? I think that would determine.
So we counted, and because I was starting to get concerned.
Okay.
So I have 5 total knives.
Oh, that's not.
and
That's
4 of
one for
those
every.
are like,
That's one for every working day.
Like including like butter knives and steak knives and those kind of things, or
you want me to count like my kitchen cutlery?
yes.
Oh, golly.
No, I'm kidding.
But,
Pocket
like,
knives, I guess.
Yeah, I have 4 like folding pocket knives, and one is this little tiny, like 3-inch knife. It's great.
Is that the necklace knife?
Yeah, it has like the necklace sheath, and man, how did we come to this? What have I become? But is there any-
No, actually, that's not bad. Like, I thought you was going to say something like you had this whole, like,
Like a
gla-
100.
like a glass-fronted cabinet with all these knives, like, hanging inside with, like, LED lights lighting it up and stuff.
no,
No, you know how some people have like the cross walls. Their whole wall is covered.
Yeah.
in different
Yes.
sizes. You have a knife wall. It's like
knife
all these knives everywhere.
I actually, like, one of my parents' friends who I used to go to their house a lot in England. They collected old steam engine things, and they were into like all the old fashioned cars. And they actually had a huge section of their wall cut out, and then filled in with shelves and a window on either side, and they displayed all their model cars and steam engine memorabilia and stuff.
That's
in
cool.
it. It was crazy. It was like this huge window.
That's pretty awesome. I guess. So that might bring up a thing. Is there anything else that anyone collects that? Any collectors of stuff besides knives?
I sort of collected graphics cards, like GPUs. I am a computer nerd. I know I said I was a bookkeeper, and we talked about knives. But yeah, like I love building a computer. Was like the last thing that I did with my dad, and it's carried over into the decade of life following that. So then I learned about eBay and how you can just buy so much stuff for so cheap. So I started buying graphics cards.
Here's the thing. Did you hear about eBay through Weird Al, or did you hear about eBay just in general?
I wish I could be like, who's Weird Al? And like play like that ignorant millennial card, but I do know about him. I actually don't know a song. Yeah. He did a song about eBay?
Yeah. It's to the Backstreet Boys I Want It That Way song. It's like I bought it on
awesome.
eBay.
That's awesome. The first song that he did that I remember was making fun of Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Oh, yeah.
Gosh. Because I was, a kid when Phantom Menace came out and all those. Golly.
He's not that weird anymore. He seems...
I don't think he's released anything recently, has he?
Last thing I remember was... Did he do a cover of Toto's Africa with somebody? Or he played accordion with Weezer?
Yeah,
with
I think
Weezer?
so. But who hasn't covered Toto's Africa, honestly?
Well, now, yeah, because it's like a
song.
weird meme now.
Yeah.
Like,
Although I think Weezer's cover is the best one.
Sorry.
Yeah. It's the best song. I love it. Where I used to work at a creative agency in Fort Worth, that song was beloved, and we played it all the time. Like, it probably got played 100 times a day.
Oh my gosh.
It's on repeat. Good times.
Yeah, I just imagine listening to the radio. It's like, yes, and that was Africa by Toto, and we got a whopping good song coming up for you next. It's Africa by Toto. Stay tuned.
Dun, dun, dun. Yes. Cool.
Well,
But going back to the original question,
collectors, yeah.
Collecting things, yes.
I've been trying to think about this the whole time we were talking about Africa, and I don't honestly think that
You collect children.
yeah, I collect children.
Oh.
That's probably that's not a good.
No.
I collect children, and I enjoy candy, and they don't go
I
hand in
just
hand.
mean you have like more kids than I do.
Oh, okay.
Not you.
Sorry, I misunderstood the question. Yeah, this is awkward. And so, no, I used to collect baseball hats.
Okay.
And at one point, I used to collect when I used to travel, because some of my family lives in Australia and some in New Zealand. So I was fortunate enough to get to travel to different places, and from the UK, that's like a 36-hour flight, and so we'd stop off in like Singapore or Hong Kong, Dubai, that kind of thing. So I'd collect different memorabilia from those places. One of the things was, and this is really, really bizarre, but like, have you ever seen those decorative spoons where like they come in a little plastic case and they're just like a miniature spoon, but they have like an engraving on them of like landmarks in that country, and so like you can't eat with them or anything. They're just like they're a thing. It's weird, and I used to have a lot of those. But that's
Interesting.
other than collecting movies in Plex. That's probably about it.
When you
But-
say used to collect those spoons, like did you like sell them? Did you lose them in a fire, some tragic fire?
They were. They are still, I guess, in the attic in my grandparents' house in England.
Oh, okay.
But they're not all mine, so
Mm.
I guess I can't really say I collected these, but I used to be a semi-professional horse rider as a kid.
What?
Yeah, did you not know this?
No.
Oh my gosh,
So-
I learn new stuff all the time.
I used to ride horses from the age of about 4 or 5, and twice a week on a Saturday and on a Tuesday night. Saturday morning and a Tuesday night, I would go to 2 different riding schools weekly, and I even used to go on week and 2 week long horse riding vacations, where we would actually go to this place, like a riding school that would have all the horses and a place to stay and all that, and they would assign you a horse for the whole week, and you would have to take care of it. Yeah, you'd have to bring it in from the field, clean it, clean up all the tack, like the saddles and the bridle and all that kind of stuff, and you'd have to feed it, and and then you'd go out for daily rides and all that kind of stuff. But I used to compete in a lot of different competitions, and so I rode horses from the age of 5 till about 16. And when I was at the boarding school I attended, I used to go to a riding school there, and then somebody bought it out, and they were mean to the horses, and I yelled at them, and they said, "We don't ever want you to come back here." And I'm like, "Good, I don't think I want to come back here because you abuse the horses." And I never rode horses since, which is really sad, because then I found McDonald's, and that was that. But
So you got thrown out of equestrian school.
yeah, pretty much.
Well, you do live in Texas now, where obviously everyone rides around on a horse, so
Yeah.
you kind of moved
to
to the
the
right
to
place.
the Old Town Road.
You are
Oh, God, no.
more Texan than I could ever be.
I tell you, I was born in the wrong country. Seriously, I say that a lot. Like people ask me all the time. They're like, "Don't you miss England?" I'm like, "Not really," because there's not. I mean, you can ask that about anything. You go to a different city, you could say, "Don't you miss, Kansas? Don't you miss, Houston? Don't you miss
No,
DC?"
you don't miss Houston at all.
Anything like no, but like it's just the same thing. Like I can find what I'm looking for, anywhere, I guess. So
I asked you that question today, actually. I was like, "Do you miss it? Do you miss the weather?"
oh yeah, I remember that.
Like,
Yeah.
That's
okay.
probably
Like
one of the
fog?
things. But again,
do you miss fog? Is that
well, I lived on a peninsula, so we were surrounded by water on all 3 sides, and then we had a mountain range on the other side, so we used to get hit with crazy weather. Yeah, we get gale force winds on a regular basis. We just walk out and it'd be like, "Oh, it's a gale force wind. There's just cars flying down the street. It's okay. It's just normal." Getting hit by debris just blowing everywhere. It's just a normal part of thing.
Wow. Well, speaking of collecting, I think both of you know what my addictions are with collecting
domain names?
domain names.
I actually genuinely thought you was going to say instruments.
Well,
Oh,
that's the other
That's the
thing.
other
That's the other
You got a dual addiction,
thing. Do-
collection addiction.
Do you have more than 5 domain names?
Oh yeah. Actually,
Are you in double digits yet?
Actually, I have more than 5
About-
domain names.
about 3 or 4 of them, maybe even 5, I took off being auto renewed
Okay.
because I'm never going to use them.
I thought you were going to say 3, 4, or 5 of them were the same name, just different extensions.
Well, 2 of them were, yeah, because I got a .net and a .com,
Yeah.
and I think I spelled one a little bit differently.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, but instruments. Oh, that's a whole new
Are
thing.
you in double digit instruments?
I think so. Let's see.
Oh my gosh.
Keyboard, drums now.
You have drums now?
Yeah, I bought
Oh, you bought the
electric
little-
set from Seth.
Oh, you did buy
Nice.
that electric
Yeah,
set.
so keyboard, drums, mandolin, violin, double bass, bass guitar, acoustic guitar. What else? Something else. Oh, and 2 banjos. That's 9. It's almost 10.
You can't give me any crap about me
Do you
and my
have-
knives.
I know.
Do you have any classroom instruments? Like maracas and
Oh
I do
Triangle.
have. I do have like a
Triangle.
shaker that is also a pick. Like it's a pick connected to a shaker. So when you play the guitar, you also play the shaker.
I got something deep and dark and troubling to tell you relating to instruments and
Okay.
relating to my wife at the same time, Lizzie.
No. Okay.
Did
Do we
you
have
know?
time for this?
Yeah. Did you know she is deathly afraid? Well, actually, that's not true. She's not deathly afraid. She absolutely hates triangles. Like, she literally cannot stand them.
Just the
because-
shape in general? Or?
No, it's not. It's no, the musical instrument.
I see a yield sign. Oh my god!
Yeah, she has like a panic attack every time she sees a road sign that's like.
The Egyptian pyramids.
Or
are
like
just
there's
oh my god.
an ice cream cone or something. And it's like, but no, I like the musical
Yeah, yeah.
instrument because she just hates the sound of them, especially the larger ones that have a higher pitch and stuff. And so our friends got her. They like to mess with her quite a bit, and they got her a triangle for Christmas one year. It was so funny. It's the funniest thing. Yeah, she really hates them.
It's fascinating.
Yeah, that's an odd thing to. I mean, I can understand. I mean, it is kind of an annoying sound. I mean, it's not a comforting sound listening to a triangle.
No,
it's just
it's not.
like very high pitched.
Yeah,
and
the frequency and stuff.
yeah.
I think it's the frequency because like she has really sensitive ears, and like the most like sometimes we'll be listening to like heavy rock music, and you know like when they do the like high pitched screeching guitar solos at the end, and like all this like reverb and sustain, and it just goes on. She'll be like covering her ears, going, that hurts, it hurts, turn it off.
I listen to folk, so I don't have all that.
Yeah.
You listen to like everything.
Says you who's sat in here listening to like, you know, classic rock and all sorts of stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, you listen to everything.
Mix
I was
a little
actually
mix of
listening this morning. I turned on Beats One on the iPhone, and it was actually British hip hop, which was pretty interesting because like it's so different to just like hip hop in general. Like it's weird. Like it actually has its own categorized genre now. It's like hip hop in general, and then there's UK hip hop, which is, you know, of different styles and very
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I think is kind of interesting with that is there's a lot of British singers that when they sing you can't really hear their accent.
Yeah.
You know, they sound like they could be American, but rappers it's not so most of the time. Like rappers, their accents usually come through pretty strong.
Yeah.
But I guess it's because you're talking, and when you're singing, I don't know.
There's
I don't
this,
know how that works.
but I think that applies to a lot because like there's a lot of different artists from various different countries. You know, like Netherlands and Australia, and like when they sing, you just can't tell where they're from at all until they start talking.
Like Keith Urban.
Yeah, exactly. Like you would never figure that out until he starts talking. But with rap, like you're saying, it always seems to like the. I guess because it's more pronounced, I guess, and
Yeah.
less, you know, I don't know. It's weird. But like, have you heard of a band called Fiddler's Green?
Yeah, I think
So they're German, but they are an Irish band. So they do lots of like
Nice.
Celtic and you know Irish style music, like heavier, like I guess almost like Flogging Molly style. They're a little bit heavier than somebody like Gaelic Storm or Wee Banjo 3 or something like that. But it's that kind of music. But it's interesting because you can really tell the German accent even when he's singing. Like it's that type of accent that cuts through. It's really funny, but it's also awesome to listen to.
Yeah, I listened to. I remember you telling me about them back a while ago, and I listened to it for a while, but it really got me into. I think I was listening to on Spotify, and it showed a band that I might like as Wee Banjo 3, and I really got into Wee Banjo 3.
Yeah, I like them too. I remember you saying that you like them because of the uniqueness and the banjo part, the way that they play the Irish style banjo.
Yeah.
So that's such a wide variety of music, and then like I don't necessarily like today's pop music very much because I think it's all very one-dimensional. It's like every song sounds like the same all the time. But I like a lot of Christian music, but I'm starting to notice the same thing with that too. Like it's all becoming it's almost like it's becoming produced by the same people, and then like you're getting people who are crossing over, like Tori Kelly. You know, Tori Kelly was an artist who primarily produced just pop music, and now you're seeing her featured with like all these Christian artists. And I'm sort of sat here wondering, when are we going to see people like Taylor Swift release a Christian album? You know, because like it's just inevitable. They're just going to do it because it's like, you know, the thing to do, or like there's money in it. They're not going to do it for the reasons that they should do. But like I'm seeing that happen a lot.
Yeah, it's just a good market. Well, anybody collect anything? We'll go back to that.
We're still on collecting.
Yeah, I've exhausted my collection things. Just
how many items do you have to have before you can call yourself a collector? More than 2? More than 3?
That's a good point.
Yeah. I don't think you can call yourself a collector until maybe around the double digits.
Oh,
Like
really?
I think at that point it starts getting into well, I guess it depends what it is. Like, what if you're collecting cars? Like, so my father-in-law, quite seriously, let's see, he has, so they have a Toyota Tundra truck, then they have a little Toyota car, and then a Z car, so that's 3. They have an El Camino, 4. They have a VW bus. They have a Honda van, and then there's another like 2 or 3 other different vehicles that they have on the property as well. So does that become a collection right there? Like, because he says he likes to collect cars, so is that how many does it take to make that a collection?
Yeah,
That's
that's a good point.
That's a lot of cars, so I would.
Yeah.
I would.
It's almost like a collection has to be a quantity beyond the capability of use. Like, for example, if I have like 2 knives, like that's not a collection. Like maybe you have one knife for one purpose and one knife for another. But if you have 10 knives, like there's no feasible reason to be able to like use 10 knives, even if you did have 10 separate purposes.
What if you were a knife thrower? No.
Well, yeah, because
But
they
then
would all
you would
be
be a collector.
identical.
I guess
Unless you had like multiple sets of throwing knives, like let's say you had like 5 sets.
Yeah.
Of 5. Because then it's like, well, you don't need
Let's get on
5
Wikipedia
sets to
and
throw
check.
knives.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, like a car, like if beyond 2 or 3, like there's no reason.
Yeah, so there's let's say you've got a two-person household,
Yeah.
and they each have 1 car. That's a usable, and then maybe they have an additional car that they share that's a little bit nicer. For example, you know, they both go to work, they have a car, one each to go to work in, and then they have, say, like a weekend car, like a little convertible or something. Then if they have anything beyond that, is that collectible? Even though, what about they have like an RV that would be a totally different use?
I think it's more like we're way over analyzing this.
Yeah.
I think it's more of like the mindset,
Yeah.
because like for me, when it comes to web domains, like I'm just like, oh, that sounds cool. I gotta go get it now. And I'm always like thinking like, what's the coolest new domain that I can think of?
Yeah.
That I can go ahead and register. It's not like I just happen to have, if like, I feel like there has to be like intent. It's not just,
And you don't always hold on to them either.
yeah.
Like, I think if you're collecting them, you would keep them together all the
Precious.
time and never let them expire.
Yeah, I guess, because if, let's say you inherited 50 cars. Like, that's a lot of cars, but you wouldn't be a collector. You have them. So I don't think, like, the amount of items you have determines. I think it's your intent.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool. That makes sense.
So I've got a pack of zip ties on my desk. So I could say I just have a pack of zip ties on my desk, or I could say I'm collecting these zip ties in this bag. Therefore, I'm a collector of zip ties.
Yeah.
I feel like you can't buy like a single zip tie. Well, you might be able to buy like a single giant zip tie.
You can, you can
But, like,
if you
There's a zip
buy
tie
those.
store.
Yeah, I think
Come
if
on
you
down,
get those
get your zip
huge
ties.
industrial ones, you can buy them singularly. You can actually, interestingly, buy single nails and single screws still. I think Screwfix, you can go in and just buy like individual, which is actually very, very hard to do. It's like, I just want to go in and buy one single nail, and just like walk out with it, and just, I don't know, like imagine what they think. And then, speaking of what people think, it's kind of a weird segue, but you were talking earlier about that YouTube video you watched about these people in Walmart. You remember that?
Yeah,
I thought that
that's
was
a
pretty
whole different
interesting.
topic, but I can
Yeah.
touch on it. It was this guy who had spent a life in crime, mostly theft, and he was walking through Walmart to see if the plainclothes security guards or loss prevention guards, whatever they call themselves, if he could spot them, basically.
Gotcha.
And so he'd be walking around and like see this middle-aged guy just kind of standing there, nothing in his basket, just kind of looking around. And he's like, "That's probably one right there." And then he's walking around, saw another guy that was kind of just like staring at one thing on a shelf for way too long. I mean, his point was like most guys go in there, they don't really like. Walmart doesn't have a ton of options. It has like 2 options and one or the other. So it's not like you need to spend 10 minutes looking at the products. So anyone who is spending longer than more than 30 seconds there looking at something, they're probably, it's probably one of these guys. But yeah, it was a weird video, but it was entertaining.
I think things like that are entertaining, and like it just shows, like, especially from a perspective of somebody who has had that mindset in the past of actually, being a criminal or something. It makes you wonder, like what is this person doing on YouTube now? Like, it's just so bizarre, and it's like, I had this thought previously actually about, like, when they make movies and they're like plotting a crime scene, and they're like trying to draw it out and stuff. I wonder if they like consult with criminals, they're like past criminals robbing a store. They're like, "Hey, did we do that right? Is that how you would have broke into the store?" Like,
Yeah, they probably do. Yeah,
That makes sense.
we'll pay you, or like, we'll get your sentence reduced. We just need to know, like, how you did this so that we can make it look accurate in the movie.
Yeah. No. I bet they
see
do
that. Yeah.
I bet that's something that if you're training to be law enforcement, you need to study criminals. I don't like. I've heard of criminology. I don't know if that's the extent of what that covers, like how criminals act or how they think. It's probably how they think is probably the big part of it.
Like patterns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think a lot of it is like psychology as well, trying to figure out, how what their mindset is, what's going through their mind, what led up to this particular moment, what their circumstances are, that kind of thing.
Yeah. Another awkward segue.
We might get better at this.
I did want
No,
to
we
talk.
never
I mean, we are kind of getting a little bit over our time, I think. But I did want to talk a little bit about our weird experiment today.
oh yes.
Oh yeah.
Apple
So
experiment.
yeah, so I love apples, but I'm very picky on the type of picky. That sounds apples picky.
That's awesome.
Anyway, very picky on the type of
I
apples.
love
that
picking. I love picking apples.
Yeah. So, as we were discussing this, I mean, there's a box back here that has I don't even know, apple juice or apple sauce or something like that. Anyway, it got me thinking about it, and I was like, we need to do an apple taste test. Like, there's so many apples out there. Let's just see which one's best. And even though I had preconceived notions on what I believe was a superior apple. But anyway, I went to the local grocery store and I bought 5 different apples. Let's see, I got a Granny Smith, a Fuji, Honeycrisp, a Kanzi, I think. Kanzi?
Yeah.
Something like
Kanzi.
that.
I think, yeah.
What else? Red
The
Delicious. And my thoughts were Red Delicious was going to be at the bottom,
Yeah.
and Honeycrisp was going to be at the top on with everyone. But James had to throw everyone off.
James being me.
James,
What-
American James.
I got on board with this experiment just because Ryan was like vehemently against Red Delicious,
They're the
and
worst.
and he's like to the point of like cursing, and I was like, man, in my memory, I didn't think
I
that
remember
it
that.
tasted that bad. Like I was genuinely intrigued by his response. I was like, yeah, we should do this, and then. My taste preference, I love.
Next thing we know, he's busting out the door. It's
He's
like,
just-
where did Ryan go? Oh, he went to go get apples.
Rage. And so for me, I was like, okay, thinking about my childhood, thinking about apples, because why not? What did I enjoy the most?
I collect
And-
apples.
Yes. And for me, like the tartar, the better. So I'm the outlier because one of our options was Granny Smith, and I was like, yeah, the green one, those are tart, right? Yeah, it's my favorite. And I
Green means
tried
go.
it, and I loved it. And I'm the only one who's like Granny Smith above the rest, and I'm okay with being the weird outlier. But I will say, Red Delicious was not good. Like
It's
it
not
was-
delicious.
No,
at
it
all.
wasn't.
It was my thing was as I'm chewing it, towards the end, it like loses all flavor, and it just I feel like I'm chewing nothing.
Yeah.
That's what like struck me, because I take the first bite with Red Delicious, and I'm like, oh, this ain't like super bad. Like this is an apple. I'll eat this apple. And then as I'm like finishing the bite, like, oh, the flavor's gone. Oh, it's like and to imagine having to eat a whole Red Delicious feels more like a chore
Yeah.
than
I
like
started it. I'll have to.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
there was 4 of us doing the taste. So, we basically, quartered each apple, and that just seemed like a lot of the Red Delicious. It's like, imagine eating, 3 times more than what you ate.
Yeah, and I think we ended up throwing out the rest.
I think they called it Red Delicious because they're like, if we call it delicious, people are gonna
Like
like
a psychology thing. Yeah.
this is so
yeah.
delicious. I have a feeling that like this was the apple, like in the Garden of Eden, and like Eve took a bite. She's like, "Oh, this is disgusting. Hey, Adam, try this. This is terrible." He's like, "Take a bite. Oh yeah, it is terrible. What is this? It's Red Delicious."
They didn't know it was terrible until
Yeah,
they
they're like-
actually. I'm
yeah.
kidding. I'm kidding.
Oh,
Okay.
whatever.
But yeah,
So-
the Kanzi ended up winning out,
I,
right?
I was really surprised. I'd never even heard of it before at all. And, it was,
Surprise.
really surprised. Like, it was like a totally different thing. But the texture and the taste and the skin and all the juicy goodness, yeah, it was good.
Yeah. I wish we could I don't know, explain it better.
Yeah.
It was really good. That's what it was.
How much money total? So you bought 5 apples, right?
Yeah, it was about $5 altogether. $70, I think.
Because you did mention there was like a huge price difference between
There was.
the Red Delicious, which is like the cheapest one.
Well, actually, the Fuji or Green Apple. Oh, I had the receipt somewhere. I think either the Fuji or the Green Apple was the cheapest.
Nice. Well, I'm excited because those Granny Smith, that's my jam now. Like,
Yeah, the Granny Smith.
I want some so bad now. What are we just
It's like
this up?
no, they're just
Painful to eat.
Yeah.
Yes, I will agree with that.
Yeah, it's like I was
It's
eating
like-
a potato.
what.
Like,
How is
See,
it a
I
potato?
think
It's
the
just so-
Granny Smith to you is what the red sauce from the local taco food truck is. Taco Mania for me. It is to me
now we
like
have the
we
tacos.
yeah, because we also did tacos for lunch.
Taco Tuesday.
Yeah.
Taco Tuesday and
Apple Tuesday.
followed by cookies. I mean, golly, what's going on?
A lot of good food today.
Yeah, really. Got a sugar high. I think that's what the issue is. And so this red sauce is crazy hot. And I think we were trying to figure out how she makes it. It was like with habanero, I guess, and
And demon blood or something. I
yeah,
don't
something
know.
like that. But like, I find it addictive, even though I feel like I'm a fire-breathing dragon after I eat it. Like my mouth just goes completely on fire, and I'm like, ordinarily I'd be like, no more. This is way too hot. Oh my gosh! But like, I'm sat over here just like huffing and puffing and panting and sweating, and I'm still dipping into the red sauce, just constantly. Like, I feel like I need to slurp it from the container. It's just that addictive and good, but it's very painful to eat. So that's
And I did reach out and ask her for the recipe. She didn't give me the recipe, but she did say
she's
that
playing the old Coca-Cola trick.
I mean, it's like you said, it's addicting. If I
Yeah,
created
it
something like
is.
that, I don't think I'd share it, but I can buy a jar. But like I was saying, it would probably go bad before I could finish that because, I mean, you can only eat so much of that stuff at a time.
So we got some a while ago, and we forgot to put it away, and it was an unused tub, and we left it out on the counter, and we just sat there. And the next day, I hear this pop, like a loud pop. It's like somebody clapped. It was like bang,
Fermented.
and the whole thing had exploded.
What?
Yeah.
You never-
It's like,
Just went
it's
every-
my eyes. Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
like and the lid shut. It had pressurized, and the lid shut off, and the sound of the lid, and then it all just splattered everywhere, and like.
No.
But it was like a really like high pitch pop, and it just exploded. Yeah, that quickly, like within a day, it was.
That's really
amazing.
dangerous.
Yeah. So I
How hot
can't
that
imagine
stuff
what
is.
a jar of it would do. feel like an explosive.
Oh man, that'd be terrible.
I think we may have reached the end of our.
We've gone over.
Yeah, we have.
Yeah.
I thought we would since it's the first time. What time do we have?
If you stuck with this, congratulations and thank you very much. Like,
Congratulations, you won.
yeah, you reached the end. Only another 20 minutes to go. No, I'm kidding. But maybe we should point people in the direction of our various social media pages and different things we've got going on, so that in case you did like our totally serious ramblings, you can keep on with it, because that's what we hope to do. So, Ryan, what do we have? Because I'm not even sure myself. I know we have an
Okay, so-
Instagram.
Yeah, so we have Facebook and Instagram, and I cannot remember off the top of my head what the usernames are.
I know
Handles,
the
whatever.
Instagram one is Totally Serious Podcast.
Totally Serious .podcast.
.podcast.
So at Totally Serious .podcast.
Okay.
Facebook. I'll put the link somewhere wherever we post this for now. So if anybody hears it, you can just
Wherever we post it.
Yeah,
Yeah, just wherever we post it. Just find it and listen.
It's part of. It's not my job to.
No.
It's part of the fun. I don't
Yeah.
know. No, but for sure, this episode will be the first one up on totallyserious.co. .co. Do you say .co or .co? I always say .co.
I would say .co. but just make sure that people know it's .co, not .com.
Yeah.
Like, it's definitely .co.
Yeah.
Nothing
I
after-
wanted to buy that domain though. Speaking of domains,
Oh,
but it was,
.com, but
it was
like, nah,
$4,000.
yeah, you wouldn't
don't
be
got
here
time for
today if you bought that.
So totallyserious.co.
And for Facebook, you can just type Totally Serious Podcast into the little search bar at the top, and I'm pretty sure we're probably the only one. So,
It'll be up for sure soon, and we'll start sharing it on our
yes.
Facebook pages. Right, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
All
Hand
our-
out tracks.
yeah.
whatever.
Definitely.
Well, cool.
Hacking
Well,
our friends and making them post it, and
Our
go
poor
share this
friends.
awesomeness
I'm so sorry.
where we talk about knives and apples.
Knives, apples, kid collecting, all kinds of stuff. Very serious things.
So serious.
Totally
Serious.
So, on that note, it's been the Totally Serious podcast. And thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.